"Your methods are too old school for our new vision," she said during my firing. "We need leaders focused on digital." My name is Garrett Walsh. For 15 years, I led the Midwest sales division of Oaklight Publishing in Indianapolis. I built that team from the ground up, turning a weak region into the company's top earner. No high-tech tools or algorithms, just relationships, handshakes, and knowing what publishers needed. Last year my division drove 60% of Oaklight's revenue. The executives only noticed when quarterly reports hit their desks. 6 months ago, Veronica Bennett became CEO, arriving with slick presentations and consultants in sharp suits. Meetings shifted to digital transformation and shaking up traditional publishing. She came from a San Francisco tech firm, no publishing experience, but the board loved her ideas. I kept delivering results, staying out of the spotlight, but felt her gaze in leadership meetings. At 50, I was the oldest director, still using a paper calendar and meeting clients face-to-face instead of on Zoom. The call came Monday morning. Her assistant, Jason, looked uneasy at my office door. "She wants you at 2 in the executive boardroom," he said. I nodded, returning to my call with Franklin Press, our biggest client, finalizing a $12 million 5-year contract built on a decade of quarterly dinners with Thomas Franklin. The boardroom had changed under Veronica. Glass walls, sleek furniture, a huge digital screen replacing the old conference table. Veronica, Jason, and an unfamiliar HR person waited. I knew before she spoke. "Garrett, we appreciate your work at Oaklight," she began, hands folded. "But we're shifting leadership to a new path." She explained my methods were outdated. They needed someone aligned with digital-first goals, someone younger, though she didn't say it outright. I thanked her, shook her hand, and left without a fight. 15 years ended in 15 minutes. Veronica didn't grasp that in publishing, especially with the legacy houses making up 80% of our business. Trust came from relationships, not algorithms. I cleared my desk during lunch. No goodbyes, just quiet exit. In my car, I sat staring at my phone. 3 missed calls from Thomas Franklin. He'd heard already. I started at Oaklight when it was Midwestern Literary Partners, a small outfit with 20 staff and a few regional clients. I'd left a corner office at Heritage Books after a New York giant bought them out, hating how corporate publishing eroded the industry. Robert Oaklight hired me himself. "We need someone who gets that books are about people who care about the words," he said. For 5 years, I rebuilt the division, driving 70,000 miles to visit every indie publisher from Ohio to Nebraska. I knew their families, attended their weddings, funerals, retirements, not for strategy, but because that's who we were. By the time Robert retired and his son William took over, we'd grown 400%. William, more numbers-focused than his father, let me run things my way. 3 years ago, when the board pushed for outside leadership to modernize, William resisted. But his death from cancer at 58 left no one to defend the old approach. Signs of trouble appeared before Veronica's hire. Board meetings tossed around outdated. They questioned our lack of social media or CRM tools. Jacob, my assistant director, whom I'd mentored to succeed me, was pulled into strategy sessions I wasn't invited to. He'd report back uneasy as their messenger. "They're talking restructuring," he said 6 months ago. "A digital sales team separate from traditional." I should have seen it. Should have noticed when they hired 3 digital specialists for my team without my input or reassigned my long-term clients without explanation. Thomas Franklin called when his account was taken. Some kid called, saying he's my new manager, talking about streamlining interfaces. He said, "What's happening, Garrett?" "Just reorganization," I said. "No worries." But I was worried, fighting a battle with weapons I didn't understand. The day after my firing, I sat in my home office. Phone buzzing, 17 missed calls, 32 texts, 6 urgent emails from clients and contacts who'd heard. I hadn't told my wife, Catherine, visiting our daughter in Columbus. I needed to process alone. Thomas Franklin's call made me answer. "What happened?" he demanded. "New direction," I said, echoing the company line. "They're idiots," he snapped. "You are that company to us. Do they get that?" I didn't reply. "I met their new guy, Drew, yesterday," he said. Showed me charts for 40 minutes. Never asked about our historical fiction line. The one I said was me. I closed my eyes, exhaustion hitting. "They'll figure it out, Thomas." "No they won't," he said. "They don't learn what matters. They push their system and expect us to bend." After hanging up, I opened Oaklight's HR email. 6 months severance, 90 days health insurance, a non-disparagement clause, and a non-compete barring me from working with their clients for a year. I almost laughed. They thought a document could stop decades-old relationships. My phone buzzed again. Eleanor Jenkins from Riverstone Press, another major client, a friend built on trust. Heard what happened, she said. Their loss. Call me when you're ready for what's next. By evening, 12 big clients, over 40% of Oaklight's revenue, reached out, loyal to me, not the company. Sitting in my backyard at sunset, sipping bourbon, an idea grew. They fired me because my methods didn't fit their digital push. Because I valued relationships over data, handwritten notes over CRM. But what if those methods were what clients cherished? What if my weakness was my strength? I called my lawyer, Benjamin Weiss. Ben, I said, check a non-compete for me. They let you go? He asked, shocked. Yep, and it might be the best thing ever. I didn't want Revenge just to keep connecting publishers with partners. If Oaklight didn't value that, others did. That night, I slept soundly for the first time since the meeting. 2 weeks later, I met Benjamin downtown. He'd reviewed the non-compete. It's unenforceable, he said, sliding it across his desk. Too broad, too long, and they can't stop you from using your industry know-how. So, I could start a consulting firm. I asked. You could, he said. But they'll sue, even if they lose. It'll be costly. I nodded. Oaklight had the funds and a board ready to squash threats. What if I don't chase clients? I said. Just make myself available. Benjamin grinned. That's a different game. The next day I filed for Walsh Publishing Consultants. No website, no ads, just a legal entity for services. 3 days later, Thomas Franklin called. Heard you're in business, he said. News spreads fast, I said, like wildfire in this industry. I need help with our winter catalog, he said. Oaklight's pushing academic markets, but I think our historical series is the play. I need someone who gets numbers and readers. I'm still sorting my path. Thomas, 15,000 for 2 months strategy, he offered. No conflict with Oaklight, just smart decisions. It was generous, sidestepping my non-compete, but I paused. Need to think, I said. Don't wait too long, he replied. Decisions next week. Then Jacob, my old assistant director, called. Can we meet? He asked, voice low. Somewhere quiet. We chose a coffee shop near Eagle Creek Park, far from the publishing hub. Jacob looked nervous, checking over his shoulder. It's bad, he said at a corner table. They gave me your job, but I'm a figurehead. The digital team calls the shots. Not surprising, I said. No, you don't get it, he said. They're undoing everything you built, reassigning your accounts to the digital crew. The new CRM confuses the veteran reps. 3 quit. I sipped my coffee, face neutral. The clients? I asked. Furious, he said, leaning in. Riverstone might walk. Franklin's ghosting them. Projections are a disaster. Veronica calls it transition turbulence. He paused. They're watching you. Legal's discussing your non-compete, worried you'll steal clients. His risk in warning me was clear. Thanks, Jacob, I said. He slid an envelope over. Updated client contacts, personal emails, cells. He stood. I didn't give you this. We never met. I stared at the envelope. Using it would confirm Oaklight's fears, invite lawsuits, maybe harm Jacob. They'd set a trap, expecting my move. I left the envelope untouched. A month passed. I ignored Oaklight clients' daily calls, citing professional reasons. The non-compete was weak, but I wasn't ready to test it. Instead, I worked with non-Oaklight contacts, small publishers, university presses, agents needing guidance, safe, fulfilling work. Then Harold Blackwood, Oaklight's board chairman, invited me to his downtown club. Curiosity drew me. The Indianapolis Gentlemen's Association was all dark wood and hushed talks. Harold, 70, silver-haired, waited in a private room with 2 scotches poured. Thanks for coming, Garrett, he said, offering a chair. You're wondering why? It crossed my mind. He slid a glass over. Things at Oaklight aren't as planned. I sipped, silent. Revenue's down 38% this quarter, he said. Client retention's at a historic low. The digital push alienated our core clients. Unfortunate, I said evenly. Harold studied me. You're not shocked. Publishing's about relationships. Always has been. I'm learning that, he said, leaning forward. The board questions Veronica's leadership. Her tech strategies don't fit publishing. Why? Tell me, I asked. We want you back as chief revenue officer, above Veronica. I stared, processing. What about Jacob? Good man, no match for your client ties or expertise. And Veronica would agree. She'd have no choice, he said, eyes hard. It clicked. This isn't just this quarter, is it? It's been brewing, Harold sighed. Veronica was William's pick, his last call before cancer took over. We had doubts but respected him. After he passed, we gave her a chance. She failed, and your firing wasn't board approved, just reported after. I leaned back. Veronica had purged William's loyalists, including me, to cement her control. The offer's generous, Harold said. Double your old salary, full sales control, board support to rebuild. It was vindication, power, stability. I need time, I said. Don't take long, he replied. Things are crumbling fast. Driving home, I realized the board knew my firing was wrong but lacked the spine to stop it. Now, with profits tanking, they wanted me back not for my skills, but my client loyalty. They wanted me to undo Veronica's work, maybe her. It didn't anger me. It clarified my path. I declined Harold's offer next morning via a short email. He replied instantly, sweetening the deal. I ignored it. Instead, I called Thomas Franklin. I'm ready to talk consulting, I said, but with a twist. Not just for Franklin Press. I'm building a consortium of indie publishers sharing resources, distribution, and insights. No contracts, no corporate mess, just publishers helping each other. Me connecting them. Silence. Then, how many others? You're the first, I said, because I trust your judgment. If you think it works, I'll proceed. If not, I'll stick to consulting. I'm in, Thomas said. I know 5 others who'd join. Next, I called Eleanor Jenkins at Revenge. She loved the consortium, suggesting a shared digital platform to boost small publishers' reach without losing independence. My third call, to Benjamin, confirmed it didn't breach my non-compete. You're not taking their clients, he said. You're creating a new entity they choose to join. Subtle, but legal. 2 weeks later, Walsh Publishing Consortium had 7 Exoclide clients, all either gone or planning to leave when contracts ended. They funded my salary and basic setup. The goal wasn't competition but a cooperative where publishers kept autonomy with collective benefits. I was no CEO, just the connector who knew their needs. We leased a small Broad Ripple office, avoiding downtown's corporate zone. I hired a recent grad for communications and a retired publishing manager not ready to quit. Word spread fast. By month's end, 3 more publishers joined. By month 2, we needed bigger offices. I never solicited Oaklight's clients. They came to us, drawn by our success and frustrated by digital-first neglect of relationships. Jacob called one September night, 2 months post. They know your move, he said. Veronica's livid. Talking lawsuits. We haven't broken any rules, I said. Won't stop her, he replied. Board meeting tomorrow, quarterly results. It'll be rough. Not my problem, Jacob, I know, he said, pausing. Is there space for me at your venture? I'm done here. I smiled. Come by tomorrow. We'll talk. October's earnings call showed Oaklight's 45% revenue drop, stock falling 17% in a day. I didn't listen, busy with 15 consortium members planning a Chicago conference. Thomas texted highlights. Veronica blamed market shifts, ignoring client exits. That afternoon, Patricia Harrington, an Oaklight board member, called, voice sharp. We've waived your non-compete effective now. We're also preparing a cease and desist for interfering with our clients. I waited. Any response, Mr. Walsh? One question, I said. Have you talked to your clients not through managers or surveys, but sat with Thomas Franklin or Eleanor Jenkins to ask why they left? That's irrelevant, she said. It's the only thing that matters, I cut in. They didn't leave because I started something. They left because Oaklight stopped valuing them. The board's in session, she said after a pause. Come, explain your view. I'm in a meeting, I said, with 15 publishers choosing a new path. She hung up after a long silence. The cease and desist never came. 3 days later, the Indianapolis Star reported, Oaklight's CEO resigns amid financial struggles. 6 months after launching, Walsh Publishing Consortium moved to a renovated Fountain Square warehouse. 23 member publishers, a waitlist forming. We'd grown beyond Indiana to Midwest Indies. Publishers Weekly and the New York Times noticed relationship revolution in publishing. One headline read, I hadn't aimed for a movement, just to preserve what worked. Sometimes old ways turn revolutionary when their value shines again. Harold Blackwood called one Tuesday. Oaklight had a new CEO, a company veteran. We'd like to explore Oaklight joining your consortium, he said. That's not how it works, Harold, I said. We don't take members your size. A partnership, then, I'll raise it with our council, I said, knowing they'd say no. Our members joined to escape Oaklight's corporate model. After hanging up, I walked through our open office, no executive suite. Just a desk among my team, close to the talks that kept us tied to what mattered. Jacob looked up. All good. Just fine, I said. Oaklight wants in. He laughed. Full circle. That afternoon, I drove to Eagle Creek Park, sitting by the water where I used to think through Oaklight's challenges. Today, no problems weighed me down, just quiet pride in what I'd built. Not revolutionary or disruptive, but lasting, rooted in trust, earned over time. Sometimes getting fired is the best thing that can happen to you. Not because it leads to revenge, but because it forces you to build something more authentic than what you left behind.